OIG had some rumblings out of the OIG that they would not permit pharmaceutical companies to give free drugs to Medicare beneficiaries who are eligible for Part D. That they might prosecute them. So the pharmaceutical companies said, we're going to stop the flow. What the clinics do is they get drop shift, big amounts, and they check the requirements to be sure people meet the whatever requirement they need to be able to get the patient assistance. So I called the people there and I said, listen, we got a problem here. Can we put out some guidance? Okay, they didn't want. They put out some guidance that was worse. So then they called me back because they were getting letters. You got to do something. Eli Lilly is cutting off my insulin. So-and-so is cutting off this. They called me up and they said, Marion, I understand this. I said, you think maybe it's what you wrote on page so-and-so that said you might prosecute? They said, well, they do a lot more risky things. I said, yeah, but they get paid for it. They're giving the stuff for free. They initially wanted the pharmaceutical companies, you know how much it costs for a pharmaceutical company to give out a free pill? Huh? Virtually nothing. They wanted the pharmaceutical companies to make donations to a charity that would then buy the pills retail. So we finally got them to do, so we said, look, this can't be. And so we got them finally to do advisory opinion. And they didn't want to do it. They said it wouldn't help, but they were getting so much bad press that they agreed to do it, to write the opinion. And then the pharmaceutical company started giving out the free drugs. It took me 9 months to get the opinion. It's on the website of the OIG. I can send it to you if you want to see. And it basically says that the clinic can give out, and it's got a lot of rules about it, how they can give them out to people who are Medicare beneficiaries. So this is who we're dealing with. So you really want me to have to go and argue with them about whether or not you had a contract for the free trial, and whether you charged and they didn't charge? It's not worth it. Just get this, get the short-term contract signed. I speak to other healthcare lawyers all the time. Everybody's finding the same experience we are. That the government is getting much harder to deal with, and the fines are much bigger. So it's not worth it. Yeah.
Well, the challenge there, though, is we have situations. We have one hospital in particular where the contracting person specifically told us she doesn't sign any contracts. Right. Well, I don't want to say the name, but right. She doesn't sign any contracts because she doesn't want to be bound to anything.
She won't sign a contract?
Nope. Short, long term, whatever. Will not sign one.
What do they want to do?
Oh no, they'll take the service. You've agreed upon a price and all sort of the terms of a contract, but she will not sign it.
Go to the hospital administrator.
She is.
Okay. That's interesting. So are they part of another system?
No.
I don't think so.
Don't provide the service. I mean, you can't provide the service. Didn't you have a contract with them? Wasn't that part of the issue?
We have a contract with them, but it was never executed on their side.
If it's never executed, you don't have a contract.
Right.
Yeah, right.
We've been providing services there for a long, long time.
You can't do it. Because we're going to have to report it. You're going to have to tell her that, and we'd have to tell the government. And you know what? She's in worse shape than you are. Because all of the claims that they are filing, not just for lithotripsy, because lithotripsy is not daily health service. You might want to give her a little legal education. Or do they have a lawyer there we can talk to?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably.
Because, let me tell you what happens. If what the rule is that the doctor can't refer the patient, okay? And the entity, the hospital, can't file claims. And all the money that they received, but it's not for the lithotripsy, which is a health service, it's everything else. That means they can't send patients for surgery, labs, radiology, the emergency room, the pharmacy, you name it. Everything that they have collected from that, all the doctors who are owners, has to be given back to the government. All of the co-payments and deductibles have to go back to the patients. All of the secondary payers who paid have to get their money back. And the government can collect $7,500 per claim from the hospital.
So we'll talk to them.
Yeah.
Non-designated procedures, such as lithotripsy, and that's all you're doing at that hospital. Do they have to sign for that?
Yeah, they have to, if the doctors who are owners, if any many doctors who are owners send patients for other things to the hospital, just like I was saying. They send them for surgery, they send them for radiology, whatever. If they send the patients for anything else, there's a problem.
So it's the hospital, we are doing a non-designated procedure. So the company,
No, it's not that, because you're part of this, of what they'll say, this is the problem. The $7,500 per claim penalty is for filing the claim or causing the claim to be submitted. For submitting the claim or causing the claim to be submitted. There has never, to my knowledge, well maybe there are. The question is, what does it take to cause a claim to be submitted? And what the OIG argues is that if you are part of all this process, you have caused the claim to be submitted in violation of the law. I don't make them up, I just report them. Yeah,
Changing the subject.
That's okay.
You had prospective investor doctors
Yes.
and meals. Occasionally, they will bring their office manager, not a doctor. He's not a potential, she or he is not a potential investor. It's not wives, it's not whatever,
Right.
but they do come occasionally,
why? Instead of or in addition to?
in addition to.
What's going on there?
No, usually they'll have a
Suspicious person that I am.
Understanding, the emergency business, bringing it there, working with a new service, scheduling.
It's common.
It's common.
But what does that have to do with investing?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's
Because we're entertaining them.
It's not, it's just, introducing the company, how you work, there's operational things talked about, it's everything. It's not just, the investment.
Let me think about that one. Let us think about that.
They're looking for a free lunch.
Yes, the question was, what if the doctor brings his or her office manager along to the meeting about investing? And what Julie's saying is that they do that because they want to hear, they're not just learning about whether I should invest, but they're learning about the whole service, and the office manager knows more.
right. I mean, usually it's the office manager that's helped doing getting all the credentialing done, interfacing with scheduling, all of those sorts of issues. The doctor really just shows up. So, in some respects, from the not the investment side, but the operational side, they're almost more important than the doctors.
And so they come to show them how easy it is, or what a great service you have.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing.
because they're going to have the operational questions. The doctor really isn't.
They ask more of the pointed questions on how it's gonna affect their practice.
Yeah, so what you're saying is it's more than just investing, it's the service.
Right.
Because the service is obviously a big part of it.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. Let's do me a favor. Can you write down the questions and I'll go back and look? Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying, because it's not like they're bringing a friend.
Another
At least we
one-
hope they're not friends.
No, yeah, well, we don't wanna
Suspicious.
know.
Yeah.
Another question doctors will ask, you were talking about number of cases that they do and whatnot. Potential investors will ask, what is the average doctor number of cases, an average? Is that an issue? I mean, when you're not giving out another doctor's, specific numbers.
It doesn't, you're dealing with a big company, right? You have hundreds of people investing. So you can tell them the total case number, but they're looking for averages. They want to know what are they looking for? Whether or not,
I think they're trying to gauge themselves, is quite honestly what I think, but I don't really know. I mean, but the question is asked, what is the average doctor, how many cases do they do? And it's usually, obviously it averages a range because it's different based on where you're at and.
I think what I would tell them is we have X number of investors. We have 100 and, I don't know, 200 something investors, 300. However, X number of investors. We do Y number of cases per year. Some doctors do more and some doctors do less.
doctors just like to compare themselves with their peers. It has nothing to do with finances or money or anything.
Right.
Well,
I mean, we get this in different companies all the time. I mean, how we do it compared to the rest of the guys.
well, you can, so that tells you how, you can figure out they can figure an average for the whole company if you tell them how many doctors there are and how many,
Cases.
how many cases there are. I mean, there's a statistic which, on law firms that goes out, how profits per partner, they add up, how much the profits are in the law firm, how many partners there are, and they divide it. Does that mean everybody gets that? No, some make more, some make less. You know, we can't not put anybody out for not doing it. We can't promise you that people will do cases.
But a range of a low and a high.
No, I don't think you can do that, because I think you're just gonna get into trouble.
You know, frankly, we don't really, as far as I know, we don't even know what the average is. We
Well-
don't keep those records.
Well, my guess is you know how many cases everybody does, because every company keeps track because you need to know for other reasons. You know, it's okay to track cases for reasons that have nothing to do with throwing people out or pushing them. You may need to know for very other reasons. But the problem is, you know, I've been doing this a while, and I'm not saying it's your doctors, but I've heard this from other doctors, because I meet with them. You know, Joe is only doing 2 cases a month, you know, and I'm doing 4. And Joe is getting the same money I'm getting, and I don't like it. You know, it's true. Joe is getting the same amount, but we can't pay you anymore, and we can't make Joe use the service. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Why can't they just respond to the number of cases required to maintain competency and to maintain their
We are changing the rules.
Okay.
There will be, the company can require cases and competency to use the service, but not to stay as an investor.
Well, no, but yeah, not for the investor side, but in response.
Well, but there may be people who don't maintain competency and just don't.
They don't, yeah.
Yeah, and they just don't, so it's not going to be all that helpful. I don't, you know, also remember when you're selling, when people are investing, you have investment duties also, so you can't mislead people. So to say what that is isn't going to really answer their question. What they're looking for is how much people are really doing. And by the time, look, averages aren't all that helpful. Yeah.
How does that apply to group practices? Are they allowed to share doctor information across?
What they do in their group practice, you really can't control.
Okay.
You know, now, that doesn't mean that you can be an ostrich. You know, I tell people when practices invest, I'm not really excited about practices investing, to tell you the truth. But when practices invest, you know, I sometimes worry about what they do and how they divide things up. So if you know of things, you can tell them things they shouldn't be doing. But, you know, if they decide, if they keep track of, because, look, they're going to know because they file with professional fees, right? And so if they know that, you know, one did whatever, that's, you know, I would tell them, though, that they're not supposed to pressure people to do more, do whatever. And always they're supposed to be, you know, they're supposed to be medically necessary. You're not supposed to shoot short, you know, little stones and things like that. Yeah?
Marion, I handle processing the new investors.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I handle processing the new investors that come into the company.
Yeah.
If I understand you correctly, I now have to check them against the exclusion list.
Yes.
They can be
Yes.
accepted.
Yeah.
Does there have to be a statement in the subscription agreement advising them that this will happen before they are accepted?
I don't think that you have any obligation to tell them. You can if you want. But I think you're going to need all their names. You got the same problem. You need what all their names are. You know, we have to check the list. There's nothing strange about it. I mean, the hospitals are checking it too. This is not something that they should be surprised about or upset about. The hospitals are checking, yeah.
Actually, as a clarification to Mary wouldn't have to do that because one of our qualifications to invest is that the physician is credentialed with us, and actually it would be Judy that would be checking, and she already does, the exclusion list.
Okay.
So we wouldn't even let them invest because they wouldn't be credentialed.
Okay.
So it's not going to be something new for you.
Yeah. As long as they get checked some way, it doesn't matter
They're being
who does
checked.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a question. You said something about reporting any violation that you see regarding things. I see some physicians who are a little, shall we say, lax with regards to sterility. You know, instrument falls on the ground, fiber falls, whatever, they reuse it. We have to report that?
I would tell Julie, yeah, that's an important thing. I mean, that's not something that I worry about in terms of what I have to worry about, but that's important. You have, you know, requirements and should about those things, and they need to get on the doctors. There are a lot of things that doctors need to get on, you know, washing their hands and things like that. You know, if they're not doing it, that's something that the company needs to know, and she should do it, and it's outside what I do, but it's certainly something that you need to know. Another thing that comes up a lot and is every once in a while you find the doctor who walks out of the room.